Okay, hello everyone. I would like to represent you new brand video format that I will try to make every week, called something like weekly my thoughts and highlights podcast, something like this. Every week I will try to make some combination of my thoughts and my reactions on some your questions, my own videos, and so on and so on. So let's start. First of all, I would like to tell that we have Discord channel, and that is in every of my videos. That's in description below. You can always enter, and if you are speaking English, you can always ask any question, and I will answer it. And if you ask in Russian, I will talk with you in Russian. So from now on, and I would like to show you that my first priorities in near future will be to make top 10 or top 15 maybe Dungeon Defenders tips and tricks in English and near future. I already made top 20 steps to increase DPS by 2 or 10,000 times. But I had a stream that lasts for 3 hours with it already, that have everything that I can show you. But for now, I would like to represent you that I already made a video that I will upload today that have quicker steps and quicker, much quicker, and I am trying to make all my videos better and better, but still it's only instead of 3 hours, it will last half an hour. But there are lots of content you need to achieve there. Okay, let's move on. First of all, secondly, I would like to tell you that there are lots of interesting information inside our Wikipedia, and for example, 10 types of onslaught challenge modificators that I usually have. I did print it on my paper near me, and always watch on it, and my build. My final build that you can find in any of my any of videos latest. This build literally works all universal against every single absolutely every single lane except this some of these modificators. So this build really works on every single lane, and for example, two-player form of destruction build means that you need a little bit time to achieve this setup, but in terms of perfect rolls and so on, it's very easy to achieve setup because we need only let's say mass destruction here. We need only green slots that are mandatory, like defense rate 10. We don't need defense critical chance, defense critical damage perfect in our water aura or flame aura. We need just tenacity on our, let's say, reflect. We don't need even tenacity on our proton beam. We don't need gilded defense rate inside our proton or inside our reflect. We just need defense rate shard, not gilded, and defense rate mod. Almost any level, like starting from 8, that's easy achievable to have overcap defense rate against first lanes and so on and so on. So we have not very much mandatory slots here, so it's pretty easy achievable. I have single player build for it, but overall, if you have a total overall picture of that build, it's easier for you to achieve. You can print it and play with it with your own numbers. Okay, so 10 types of onslaught challenges. I'd say that's standard, all universal. I put my build. Spellbreaker, I put my build with trap. Headstrong, I put my build with headstrong is the main thing that all anti idiots, I call them, or trash kids that don't know math. We will talk about this later on. That they are forced to reroll, but with my build, diverse and great DPS out from fissure that continue to burn even headstrong lady orcs or something like this. Even if they pass through, I can beat any headstrong, and right now I am on 930 floors, and I don't feel this headstrong as my any problem for me. Long shot, there's sometimes problem. It's all universal builds. Controlled burn is pretty nasty lane that is countered by either PDT staying behind, or I prefer water aura. I do use water aura in my builds only because to counter control burn lanes. And frost orcs are countered by double rate flame aura. Fire lanes are countered by for now are countered by my water aura, flame or mass destruction flame aura that kill them on the. I do kill like 300 health kobolds right now. Or I believe when I will have like 1 million health kobolds, I will start to kill flyer lanes with reflex on core and something that they explode on, like I don't know, frostbite tower and so on, to catch kobolds. But for now, I do kill them just with flame aura, not destruction. Roller lanes are killed just by proton. You put proton and you kill them with your hand. I will make videos about any of these lanes, and starting I already make a video about Kursika's lane, so I will do about all other lanes and Arachna lane. So Kursikazi and Arachna lane, we will stop here, and I will show you my latest video how to win Kursikazi lane. So you just put I put every single same absolutely same builds, but here we as you can see, we have boost tower above beam and oil for destructive pylon, and our PDT or ballista. You can I prefer using PDT most of time because it have poison, and sometimes like here I don't have poison extra defense units for extra proton here and reflect here, so I can put only reflect here, but this lane will be weak, and I will have to take an eye on it because PDT can cover only 3 targets, so I will should have taken eye on this lane because most of units can pass through because PDT can target only 3 targets at a time. But if I had proton and reflect here, it will be much easier, and I will show you in another video. And the flame or water aura just to kill some leaking through enemies. So if we wanna watch how it works, like we have any round, and we can here see our Kursika's enemies are dying here, and if we catch a moment, we'll be here. The main concept of that build is that we just put PDT, heavy buff PDT or ballista that is covered by proton reflect on the edge of our water aura or flame aura, and they are killing this easily. So that's it. And same for Arachna lane, absolutely. Arachna and Kursikazi are the same, but Kursikazi is a little bit harder to kill, and if I remember right, something like low was here. Oh, wait a moment. No, no. Так. Okay. Can't find it. But I believe I had Xbox variation of Kursikazi. If not, it's okay. Okay, I cannot find it right now. So let's move on. And let's move on. I wanted to show you that sometimes you can put ballista uh, instead of on Kursikazi lane. You can land ballista instead of PDT, but you will have to put proton reflect on the edge of your flame aura instead. But cannot find it right now for some reason. Don't remember where was it. Okay, if you find it, tell me. Okay, so and another thing that always helps me is 6 types of support mods. So we have DPS towers, means we always have to put diverse critical chance, diverse critical damage. We will talk about this later on. And diverse critical chance, diverse critical damage are synergizes and multiplies each other and makes us make huge DPS boost for us. But if we don't need DPS out of our tower, let's say oil or proton or reflect, there are always 6 types of support mods that we should focus on. Is tenacity, defense rate. Defense rate, I'd say it's not support mod anymore, it's DPS mod as well. So we can put, let's say, defense rate 10 and diverse critical chance, diverse critical damage. But few patches ago, it was support mod. Range element, like you can put storm, water, fire, poison element. Let's say poison inside proton, and take care that not every single defense can have element inside its mods, because it already have element. Or let's say reflect won't have any element, but it's spell damage, and it cannot be attuned to any element. Pierce and specific timer mods like Embermount Flame, Standard Revelation, Burn Bolts, and so on. So that's all support mods like you can have. Okay, next thing is that we have this picture I made long patches ago. Lots of people told me that yeah, ballista is not 60 defense units anymore, or something like volcano is 8 defense units. It doesn't matter, guys. It was made 100 right 5 or 10 patches ago when it was right. The main thing is that we need to focus on lowest defense unit to have greatest upgrade potential, and we have to focus on ethereal towers that cannot be destroyed. And the main are Trap, LSA, and Flame Aura, Embermount Flames. That's it. So other we can watch on them like PDT, but they are non-ethereal, and they can be destroyed, and so on and so on. So the main destroyers are Trap, LSA, Flame Aura, Flames 4, and PDT or Ballista. That's my combination of 5 main defenses that all have defense critical chance, defense critical damage inside it. Okay, let's move on. We have, by the way, new shard that I didn't get so far, but when I get it, I will test it and tell you if it's good or not. Okay, so here we have some of my builds, and the quick conclusion of my builds are that lots of people keep telling that, hey, your DPS, like 80 million DPS, is only because you use 4 accounts. But I already used 2 accounts like for ages. I don't know, like for half a year maybe. Okay, maybe 2 or 3 months ago I used 4 accounts, but they didn't do anything because I already had all that I need with just covering with 2 accounts. And if I have 2 accounts, it is allowed as far as I know, and I have 4 mass destructions. Yeah, and a lot of people keep asking, how do you get 4 mass destructions? It's achievable if you have a friend or second account. Every account can have only 2 mass destructions at the same time. And I did this spreadsheet that shows you everything you need to know. That you don't need perfect gear. With House 8 gear, you can have already 60 million DPS. With single player, just 2 mass destruction inside Flamehour and Fissure, you can have 60 million DPS Fissure. And only when you have 2 players, perfectly made, perfectly geared, you have only 80 million DPS. That is only 35% more. So you can have my DPS like 35% less of my DPS, and it's not that low, by the way. If you don't have like gilded everything and non-perfect diversities, you will have like 2 times less DPS than I have, 3 times maybe maximum DPS. I think the 2.5 less DPS that I have, and it will still be viable DPS, like 40 million DPS on Fissure and 30 million DPS, and then you can work with it. Okay, so let's move on. I had a conversation with someone called Rejane, and I will quickly announce you that I don't even understand that is really. I'm asking you right now, is really Dungeon Defense community so stupid that they don't even know that anti are not multiplicative? Like he's writing, if you put anti-melee and anti-house, on result you will have 5 million multiplied by 40%, then multiplied by 50%, and the result it will have like more than double DPS. But it's not true. From Arachno patch, I believe, or even earlier, antis are not multiplicative anymore. They are additive. Means that if you put 2 antis, let's say anti-melee 40% and anti-house 50%, you will have not multiplied 2 times, but you will have plus 40 plus 50% of DPS in sum with your 100 original DPS. Means you will have 190% of damage. Means your multiplier will be only 90% of damage. X 1.9 damage. You have less than 2 times more DPS. Then he tried to argue with me, but I have a question for all DD2 community, and please leave your comments below. What would be if I have I don't know. I had a lot of my screenshots, and lots of people keep telling me that I'm I'm making Photoshop them, so they are not real. It really makes me laugh and smile. You can ask Annabelle, that was playing with me some months ago, and we made 2 billion DPS Fissure on this video live. And he can tell that I didn't do any Photoshop, but it's okay if you think I have photoshopped everything I have here. But okay, you can count yourself things like I have a build where I have like my amount of Fissure, and it have crit chance 91% crit chance and critical damage extra to for 7% of critical damage. It means that it have 91%, almost 100% time I'm making 3.5 3.5x damage. Means it's almost 3.5 damage multiplier just from critical chance, critical damage. Please, can someone explain me from Dungeon Defenders community, if you multiply 91% of critical chance and to do 347.42% of damage, what damage multiplier will be in result? That's my first question, because lots of people, like when I had highlights video, I had something like boom 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 yeah, in my highlights video I had something like, should that be multiplication of 0.91 and 3.47 instead? That's my first question. Is it real right result? That's first question. If you want to count damage multiplication, please count this and leave in comments below. I won't leave you an answer for now. That's first question. And second question, please, can someone from NT community explain me how exactly x 1.9 damage multiplicator can be more than x 3.5, approximately 3.5 damage multiplicator. So go on, and I believe that someone can tell me where I am wrong, but it's literally impossible. But I'm just laughing, really laughing. Okay, next thing is that in Wikipedia I have single player. For sure, you asked me to make you, hey, you have 4 accounts, hey, you have everything perfect. No, you can make your own build with single player with just 2 mass destruction, and please, okay, make it. And in this build you can have 60 million DPS flame aura, fissure of amount that continue to burn even if someone runs through. That's the main thing of my build. So I have the biggest DPS in the world of my fissure with diversities, of course, that burns everything that I don't need to reroll headstrong blades. What in the result, for example, I have 60 million DPS fissure, 68 million DPS water aura, almost 200 million DPS LSA, and more than 200 million DPS explosive trap, because it have fire for effect. Means I should multiply 1 for all by 1.5 times with 4 fire for effect, because it have 50% to do double damage. Okay, this is 20 steps that I made a video how to make your DPS up to 10,000 times. This is a question for you. How you should count the final DPS or this LSA with this given critical chance, critical damage. I don't know. I think that Dungeon Defenders 2 community cannot count. They don't know how to count critical chance, critical damage multiplier. So if it's not in DPS, they cannot count it at all, I think. So okay, if it's not like I show you, okay, I let someone explain me where I'm wrong. Okay, move on. Let's move on. And this is top 20 steps that you should do to make your DPS shine. And you can always come here, but I've made a video about this spreadsheet. The next one was someone sent me this screen that represents everything you need to know about anti. How do you stop Spellbreaker and Headstrong lying? Oh, Headstrong Lady Orc, you can reroll. That's all you need to know about anti-builds, and everything you need to know about my builds is that you can have 80 million DPS fissure that will burn that Lady Orc. If it, let's say, if 2 billion Lady Orc Headstrong that is immune to any anti, any controller, and so on that's come through my defenses with 2 billion health. It cannot have more than 2 billion. Inside my DPS structures, it will lose at least 1 billion DPS already, and my fissure will continue to burn it for at least 10 seconds. Let's say 10 seconds. With 80 million DPS, and in 10 seconds it will do 800 million damage, almost 1 billion damage. So okay, I can have headstrong lane, it doesn't matter, they all will burn, especially with House 9 patch, where we will have some elder wyverns that making headstrong everything around, and so on and so on. So lady orcs, headstrong lady orcs are a little nightmare for all anti-idiots. They are idiots because I know who can show me how exactly anti damage multiplier 1.9 can be more than my damage multiplier almost x 3.5, and it works against every single enemy, every single and it can be increased by 100 times, like I show in my top DPS below, that I can increase it like 10,000 times. I can have 2 billion DPS on anything that I want. Okay, let's move on. By the way, another conversation was about critical damage diminutions. I will make a video about this on my next week podcast. And quick spoiler: critical damage have diminishing, but it's still much better than any anti that you can acquire. Okay, so the final table, the final result, I will talk about this in my next podcast. And the interesting thing is when you have, by the way, I found a leak in my build that I had almost 80 million DPS, 79.5 million DPS, but I can have almost 81 million DPS, not changing anything, because my lightning strikes aura was pretty far from my buff beam, and buff beam didn't get one diverse from my LSA aura. It was very interesting to understand, and right now I have not highest DPS that I could achieve on all of my screens. And I would like to show you that this screen, for example, that most of people keep telling that it's Photoshop. I was doing this long patches ago, before anti-nerfs, before diverse nerfs, it doesn't matter. But overall, you can have, like with diversities, you have not static x 1.9 damage multiplier. You have always like dynamic damage multiplier. Like here you have x 7, almost 7.5 damage increase. So my damage will be increased by 7.5 times. With diverse critical charge, diverse critical damage, and so on. So diverses are the thing that it's diminishing, but it's you cannot achieve these damage multipliers by anything. That's called diverse synergy. Okay, thus I was. I'm in my podcast format. I will show some highlights and answer some questions as well. So I had some interesting questions, and for example, is it possible to achieve this damage with one account only, 2 mass destruction, diverse build? I already answered this, and this spreadsheet shows that you lose only 35% of damage if you work 2 player vs 1 player. I don't know why I told 10. So people have achieved it all account only 2 mass destruction. I will edit it. %35. Why you use defense rate and defense rate on Flame Aura to have double rate versus Frost Lanes? It's very important to understand that. I have, by the way, highlights video that explains shows, not explains, shows many things. That, for example, Frost Lanes. Frost Lanes. I would like to show you that. I will return to this video in most of my podcasts because it's heavy and have lots of things that should be explained. But for now, I can show you that Flame Aura, imagine Flame Aura with just 2 million DPS. 2 million DPS is killing. Standalone Flame Aura, just Flame Aura without anything, is killing 60 million Frost Orcs. Just because it's double rate. First of all, it's doing double damage, so it's not 2 million, it's 4 million, and it's double rate, so it's never getting frozen. And this representation that just 2 million Flame Aura are killing 60 million DPS means if we have 600 million DPS, we will need 20 million Flame Aura. 20 million Flame Aura is easy achievable. Means if we need to kill 2 billion Frost Orcs, we will need like 60 million DPS Flame Aura. That is also achievable by my diverse build. So I won't have any problems with Frost Lanes, never, because I already have double rate. And we can see in our build, I have double rate 2-player Flame Aura. I have double rate Flame Aura here. So it's just to counter Frosty Lanes. Okay. If the fissure you have Embermount Flames, yes, for sure, you absolutely need to have Embermount Flames inside Embermount Fissure because imagine this mod, Embermount Flames, will make that even if they pass through, they will still be burned by 80 million DPS every single second. That's the main and most overpowered mod in the game, Embermount Flames. And the main thing is that I was talking about that mod like, I don't know. Let's see. I was making this build all 1 year ago. I believe 2 years ago. Let's see. I started streaming 2 years ago, and I already was talking about this build. Yeah. As you can see, 1 year ago, 11 months ago, I was already making Fissure, Embermount Fissure build. Yeah, I already making Embermount Fissure build. Let's see. Yeah, Embermount Flames, Embermount Fissure build. And you can see that I literally didn't change anything inside my build. It was mass destruction, diverse critical chance, diverse critical damage, Embermount Flames. Let's check. Mass destruction, diverse critical chance, diverse critical damage. That's was 1 year ago, guys. 1 year ago. Wow, I started streaming more than... Interesting. A little bit more than 2 years ago I started streaming, yeah? Interesting. Okay, next question. What is the multiplier without form of destruction? Second control to alt. Is it still close to 3.3? Yeah, I had this somewhere here in Wikipedia. And when you have here, When you have single player, you can count this. Like you can count crit chance 86% and critical damage extra 232%. And if you count this, it will be you should count this. How exactly do you deal with frosty and spider lanes? It's already here. That will be my last question for today, and that's already inside this video. You build PDT buffed with boost tower above beam and oil as destructive pylon, and covered by proton reflect. Just covered by proton reflect on the edge to petrify enemies here and kill them from a distance. Kursikaze and Frost Lane are almost same. The only thing that he asked me is, isn't it better to get anti inside that build? Anti for Curse, but I answered that we will have like 5-6 defenses there, and a little bit more. Yeah, you can have a little bit more with antis straight mathematically, but antis are always reggy, so they sometimes they work against anti-melee, but if it will be hex thrower or boss ranged, it will not work. So you can count that antis are working half with just half efficiency. But when you grow in your defenses, you will always grow in your damage multiplier. And damage multiplier, like with crit chance crit damage, you can see that growing pretty fast because they are synergizes with each other, multiplying with each other, and you can have literally with each one diverse you get almost 30%, as I believe, 30% damage increase each time with every single. So even if you have just 5-6 defenses, I believe you will still have something near equal numbers to antis. So you don't need antis anywhere. I don't use antis like for 1.5 years. I didn't use them any time of my so diverses we were all way better everywhere, every time, absolutely always. And the last question finalizing is the question that I ask here in my tooltips, and I want you to ask anyone in Dungeon Defenders 2 community: is x 1.9 damage multiplier more than x 3.3 diverse? Good luck, everyone.